Harp on Sports, the Bar, podcast, media, audio, and radio network. What do we have in store for you on this edition of the program? A little wanderlust. Rays phenom. You still call him a phenom? I guess so. Wander Franco in trouble. Reports on social media he had an inappropriate relationship, possibly with a minor. What the Rays did on Sunday was correct. They're investigating this. He can't play until they figure out what's going on. They've done a nice job of this so far, but what's next? So we're going to look at that. Bucs' first preseason game in the books. What do we learn? Well, we learned that Baker Mayfield is right now better equipped to run this offense, even though Kyle Trask's got a 2-year head start. What we took away from the Bucs opener on Friday night against the Steelers. And going to wrap with a little Manziel Mea Culpa. As Johnny Manziel comes out in defense of Reggie Bush getting his Heisman back. I watched the Johnny Manziel Netflix show. It was fantastic television. Johnny's not exactly wrong on this one, but bagging the NCAA once again, and they've deserved their criticism. But, gang, look, you're a bunch of children that everybody, I shouldn't say you, people that complain about the NCAA are a bunch of children. I'll explain why. So there you go. Harp on Sports, the Bar, podcast, media, audio, radio network. Follow, share, like, subscribe at Harp on Sports Twitter, at Harp on Sports Instagram, Auditory Route, Harp on Sports, the Bar, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Harp on Sports Facebook page, Harp on Sports, the YouTube channel, and of course, harponsports.com. All right, Wander Franco in the news. This isn't good. Social media post, relationship with a minor. What I immediately thought of when I saw this was Telvin Smith of the Jaguars. I was in Jacksonville covering the Jaguars when the Telvin Smith thing went down. Now, we got some pretty lurid details on that. What I want everybody to remember is this. They have no idea how old this person is. Don't even know if it's true. We're going to get the details on this. It's going to come out. Obviously, the accusation was strong enough that they took him off the field and removed him as they are investigating this. He needs to be suspended. Well, Horsey, no. This is where people jump the gun on things. What they've done is right. Wander Franco will not play. He's not suspended, but he will not play and will not see the field until we figure this out. You come out, suspend him, and he didn't do it, then you got a bigger mess on your hands. If you keep him away and he did do it, then you levy the suspension, then it's done. Wander Franco cannot play until you figure out what's going on. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with you cannot play until we figure out what's going on here? The whole thing, guys, the Rays haven't suspended him yet. Why should they? Until they figure out what's going on. Well, what's wrong with you just can't play until we know? What's wrong? What if it's 10 days? Well, then it's 10 days. Well, what's wrong with you? You're not playing. It's funny because when an athlete acts up, and Wander Franco had an issue with this earlier in the year, right? Kevin Cash benched him. It's not suspended. He's just benched. Same idea. Can't play. Well, if it's not true, he comes back right away. If it is true, he's done for the year, at least. At least. If this comes out and Wander Franco had a relationship with an underage individual, gone for the year. Done. 2023 is done. Suspended the rest of the year. Not regular season, rest of the year. It's the only way you can handle this. If you're the Rays, it's the only way to approach this if this report's accurate. And who knows, because you can't, it's weird because usually on social media, Twitter, Instagram, somebody posts something like this, somebody gets a screenshot of it. There's no screenshot of this. It's just a report that on social media it had been leaked that Wander Franco had a relationship with an underage female. And guys, save me the he's 21 or he's 22 and she may be 17. No, guys. No. Just no. Gotta be smarter than this. Gotta be smarter than this. You can't put yourself in this position. Again, Telvin Smith, I've seen it burn people, cost them careers. Gotta be smarter than this. Just have to be. And I know there are people that are 19, 17, 20, 16. I get it. I understand. When you're a high school senior and you're dating a sophomore, one of you's underage, one of you's not. I get it. It's a slippery slope, but in this case, it's not. It's not. We'll see. We'll see as the details come up. But I think the Rays have handled this great. You're out. You're not playing until we figure out what's going on. The thing is, if it is true, he's got to go for the rest of the year. He just has to. Rays aren't going to win this division. They're not. They are going to be a wild card team. And without Wander Franco, probably can't win. Maybe a series in the American League. Maybe they can win the opening rounder. But they can't beat the Orioles without him. And look, they couldn't beat him with the way he's playing now. And this is what's weird about this team. Everybody wants to know what's wrong with him. What's wrong? What happened? What happened? Does anybody ever think for a second maybe they overachieved the first 2 months? This may be who they really are. I mean, what was it, 3-4 years ago? The Pittsburgh Steelers were 10-0, and then they got beat in the first round. Were they 11-0? Lost in the first round to the Browns. Who's the real you? Happens all the time in the NCAA tournament, right? Was the real Purdue the team that got beat? Is the 1 seed in the first round? Or were they frauds all year? Because everybody said at the end of the year, oh, they weren't that good. They were frauds. They weren't that good. Or which one were they? Maybe this is the real Rays. Maybe the Rays are wild card. No shame in it. Maybe just what they are. So Wander, it's okay to just sit somebody off to the side for a while and not suspend them until you figure it out. So there's where they sit in that organization as we hit the final 6 weeks of the year. Pivoting from that to this, staying in Tampa, Kyle Trask. He was okay. 6 of 10, 99 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick, sacked 3 times. Now you can fault the line for that. Maybe he's holding on to the ball too long. He was pedestrian. He was okay. Baker Mayfield looked like the guy. And here's what's crazy about this. And Kyle Trask played well in camp, and I've heard he's been great in camp, and that's great. But the fact remains that Baker Mayfield looked like a guy that spent the last 3 years in this system, and Kyle Trask looked like a guy on Friday night that was just getting used to the system. Baker Mayfield looked like the starter. Kyle Trask looked like the backup. That's just what it looked like. Now, that's not to say that Trask's not going to get a shot at it. Again, Josh Allen, injured at times last year. Patrick Mahomes, hurt, injured at times last year. Go up and down the list. Joe Burrow sat out drives. Guys are going to, I'm giving you the elite guys. Jalen Hurts missed time. Every quarterback, at least in this day and age, where we are, is going to miss some time. Kyle Trask is going to get his shot at some point. But right now, Baker Mayfield looks more comfortable operating the system. If there's any cause of concern, that should be it for Trask fans and Gator fans that want him to have the job, because if you've been in the system for a couple years, you've been on the team, Todd Bowles has been there. I know it's a different offensive as opposed to defense. I get it. But this is a guy that's, even if you're like, oh, the system's different, still familiar with the players, good chunk of them, just not there yet. And look, everybody that hates the preseason, for a team like the Bucs, the preseason actually helps. Everybody always likes to bag on it. Well, Bucs fans, you got to feel a little bit better about Baker Mayfield after seeing him at least in one preseason game. Look, these guys had a lot of snaps. 19, or a lot of pass attempts. 19 passes between the two of them. Look, in the next game, I think Baker Mayfield probably plays a little bit more, but Kyle Trask gets 10 to 15 more reps. When it's all said and done in the preseason, Kyle Trask probably going to get about 45 pass attempts. All right. Probably going to be the backup. No shame in that. A lot different between practice speed and game speed. Just is. And look, the reality starts to hover, doesn't it? That maybe this isn't, maybe Kyle Trask isn't a starting quarterback in the NFL. Maybe he's not. no shame in that. No shame in saying maybe you're not ready for this yet. And Baker Mayfield, and here's the ugly crutch of all this. Baker Mayfield probably should beat him out, shouldn't he? Baker Mayfield's a couple years removed from winning a road playoff game. A couple years ago, Baker Mayfield is one Chad Henne first down away from having the Browns in the AFC Championship game. Yeah, and then it fell apart on him the next year. I get it. It fell apart on him. So much so that the Browns traded for Deshaun Watson. And last year, whether it be Carolina or Los Angeles, it didn't work out. But Baker Mayfield's got what? 30, 35 NFL starts under his belt? More than that. Baker Mayfield was the number 1 overall pick. 5 years ago, Baker Mayfield was the number 1 overall pick. So, this whole thing about Trask is okay, we've seen it. Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback right now. It's not to say with a couple more months and Kyle Trask because remember, Kyle Trask was practice squad last year, right? 3rd string. Kyle Trask getting all this work in the preseason and maybe 4 or 5 games of looking at things can slide into a little bit more developmental role. He's getting shots now they didn't get before. It's Baker's job to lose. And if he loses it, what does Trask do with it? But I just have never been in the camp. I want the guy to get it because, he went to the school that I love. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I never sit there and watch a game going, well, I hope who gives me the best chance to win? I don't want that. I want my guy. That's ridiculous. That's absurd. So, there we go. Baker's more ready. He is, again, if you put blind resumes next to each other, no NFL starts, 3rd string quarterback, dressed in a 1/3 of the career games, not even that. Other guys got 35 starts, including 1 road postseason win. It's not close. And Baker Mayfield looked to be better. A good old eyeball test, huh? Want to wrap with this. I watched the Johnny Manziel show on Netflix. I thought it was good. Storytelling at its finest. It's how easily I and all of you can be manipulated at times. I thought the most fascinating thing about not the money that he was making or the $100,000 or, how he just wanted it to end and he's just not a very happy person. Loved college football, didn't love the NFL. That's why if you want to be an NFL quarterback, go get it. If you want to stay in college, stay. That's fine. Tim Tebow wanted to stay all 4 years, fine. Johnny Manziel, king of college, kind of got pushed that way. Who knows with NIL money, he may stay around now. Some people just aren't emotionally mature enough. He wasn't. He admits it. It's great storytelling. So check it out. I loved it. Wish we had more documentaries like that. It was brilliant. Can't wait to watch the Swamp King ones on Florida coming out next week. But here's the thing about something Johnny Manziel said is Mea Culpa. He was talking about how the NCAA, a bunch of phonies and frauds for taking Reggie Bush's Heisman away. I'll agree with you. Shouldn't have. USC should have their national championship back. But here's the rub when it comes to this. And the NCAA has its faults. But anytime the NCAA does anything, everybody throws a fit. I defend the NCAA at times because what do you want them to do? Seriously, what do you want them to do? They tried to keep everybody's amateur status. It didn't work. That's what they acted in the president's and the university's best interest. They were doing what school presidents and athletic directors wanted by trying to prevent student athletes from making money. And it didn't work. Supreme Court got involved. They lost. Presidents and ADs looked around and said, yeah, NCAA's fault. Yeah, I'll blame them. NCAA nailed Penn State. Not fair, man. You're punishing the kids that are here now. So if you're the NCAA, this is what they've resorted to. Okay, we're going to take away your past achievements. Fab Five, we're going to take your banners down. We're going to take away wins. You can't do that. I remember we won those things. I can't believe they took away our wins. They took away our titles. That's not fair. So we can't punish the team now because none of these kids were a part of it. We can't take away your wins. We can't take away your banners. We take away scholarships for punishing the kids now. Exactly what do you want us to do? What do you want the NCAA to do? And what the NCAA was designed to do was to run sporting events. You have to look at the NCAA a little bit like it's an organizational platform. It's like the NCAA tournament. That's what the NCAA was involved. The NCAA was originally constructed to kind of just run things. Then they became an authority figure. They can't win. Johnny Manziel's right. Reggie Bush should get his Heisman back. And think about this for a second. We're talking about like how major colleges want to break away from the NCAA. Okay, let's say they do that. And rampant cheating goes on. Who's policing it? Oh, we're going to police ourselves. Oh, think about where we are right now. A player gets in trouble. What happens at schools? We're handling this in-house. Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, we're handling this in-house, which is code for we're not going to do anything. Get away from our program. I mentioned this a couple years ago. Scott Strickland. I understand what his perspective is. Talking about a CEO, or a CEO is a bad term, a czar for college football, a commissioner. Well, that person may not have the best interest of the Gators in mind. I hope not. Hope he has the sport's best interest in mind. See? And that's what the NCAA tried to punish Miami. They had some mistakes. Punished Penn State. People were mad. SMU got the death penalty. They nailed Florida State. They nailed Miami over the years. They've nailed Ohio State. They've nailed everybody. Look, they took wins away from Ohio State football players because they were selling their own stuff. They were trading merchandise that was theirs, that was given to them, for tattoos. Got punished for that. NCAA, without a doubt, overstepped their bounds. But ask yourself this. If I can't take away wins in the past, can't take away banners, can't take away championships, okay. You don't want me punishing you now because it's not fair to punish the kids. I can't take away scholarships because it hurts the current kids. What am I supposed to do? Johnny Manziel's right. Reggie Bush should get his Heisman back, and USC should get their national championship back. So what's the punishment then for what USC did? What do you take away? What do you do? What do you take away? And I've come up with one conclusion. We catch you, it's a $10 million fine. Well, it's going to hamper our ability to pay for things going forward right now. Raise ticket prices then. Because every time the NCAA gets, again, this is a criticism that's fair. Most of them aren't. Harp on Sports, the Bar, podcast, media, audio, radio network. Follow, share, like, subscribe at Harp on Sports Twitter, at Harp on Sports Instagram. Harp on Sports. You can hit us up via the auditory route, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Harp on Sports YouTube channel, Harp on Sports, of course, Facebook page, and harponsports.com. Check it out. Remember, stay clean, stay focused, stay strong. Frankenstein. Have fun with your friends.